Hello and welcome to the Irn-Cru podcast, the American football podcast made in Scotland by gridiron lovers. We are delighted to be back on your screens tonight, and for those listening as well, it's good to see you all. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone, from the crew to you. A very happy Thanksgiving from all of us here. Hope you're having a great time. Hope you're enjoying the football so far. And I'm here. I'm back after a wee bit of a break. I've been needing a wee bit of a break, I think. Make sure you're looking after, you're being kind to yourselves and everybody else. And if you're needing that wee bit of help, make sure you reach out, because there's plenty of people out there that will give you a wee hand. I certainly have received that myself. So, yeah, it's good to be back, though, and talk some football. And to do that, I'm joined by one of the finest crew members that we have available at this time on a Thursday evening. Graham, thanks very much for joining us. The Kilted Texan, just back in the country, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, thanks, Keith. Good to have you back on, mate. But yeah,
Cheers,
just
bud.
back yesterday from another trip to Houston, following my team around and visiting some family. So yeah, bittersweet coming home, but sometimes you always got to come home to funder size the next trip, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
You got that planned already then, yeah?
No, not as such. Haven't really planned anything yet. You know, I'd like to spend a Christmas at home with my folks for a change, I think.
That's nice.
Kind of been travelling out since COVID. You know, we used to go 1-on-1, but it's been pretty much one way since COVID stole so much game time from me. In that time we couldn't travel, so we'll have a look. Nothing planned yet, but never say never. For the end of the year, maybe playoffs.
So in the past, have you been over in the States for Thanksgiving games? Can you tell us what it's like?
Yeah, well, I've been present in country when during Thanksgiving, but COVID took the Thanksgiving game that we had planned. You know, we were meant to go and see the Texans against the Lions. The year you couldn't travel, we had it all planned out, had our internal flights booked and everything. Then it all got knocked on the head, unfortunately. But the best I can do is I've been out for Christmas Day games before with the Texans. So that's an experience. Seeing those turkeys getting deep fried at the tailgate. But I would have loved to have gone to Detroit, like we've seen earlier in the footage today. Like that's such a special game to go to. I think UK's International Fan of the Year, the Lions fan, he was at the game today, I think.
Brilliant.
I think he was there today. I've seen on his stories. I actually met up with him at the Texans-Lions game a couple of weeks ago, met him for the first time in person. So really nice guy, really friendly and that. So I hope he had a wonderful time. His team got the win, so I'm sure he's delighted today.
Yeah, well, we'll have a wee discussion about that game there. Exciting exciting end to the game. In the first half, it certainly looked like it was going to be a bloodbath, as one of the crew put in the group chat earlier on. He thought it was going to be just all lines, and it certainly looked that way at half time. But Matt Everfluss at half time, as he was walking off, he was interviewed, and he says that we just need to get a wee bit closer, man to man, get away from our guys whenever we can as well, make that wee bit of space. In the second half, we're going to be popping, and to be fair to them, they were popping in the second half. Their team pushed it close, but it was a comical end to the game. You saw the end, I'm sure. Let's start with that bit, because that's a big main talking point. Caleb Williams, by the time he got tackled, he still had 32 seconds. They had a timeout as well. And somehow they contrived to throw the ball and run out of play, run out of time, and lose the game from a really, really, really strong scoring position, considering they started on their 1 yard line as well. What did you make of that, Graham?
When I was watching it there, I was just like, this reminds me of when Dak Prescott blew one. He did exactly the same.
Yeah.
Just was it a season or 2 seasons ago? I was going, they're going to have to take a timeout. They've got to take the timeout, or they have to do something here. And everyone looked shell shocked at the end, like they couldn't believe time had expired. It's like, what clock are you watching? You know, he took too long to even make the throw. If you're going to do that, it's got to be a quick away, and then
stop the clock. Yep.
You can't take that much time. But, and I'm not saying anything about Caleb Williams here. Like, I've seen his reactions a few times after the games, and like leading up to that final place, it almost looked like he'd had enough of that game, in my opinion. You know, he took a big shot just a few plays before that, and he looked a bit hurt. So, see, after the game, he didn't even seem that bothered, like it wasn't going to OT.
Yeah, it's a weird one with Caleb Williams, and I think everybody tends to read into the mannerisms and how he behaves, and a lot of reading into it. I suppose we do the same with the people like Aaron Rodgers as well, and just how he's like nonplussed about how things are going there in New York. But with Caleb Williams there, I'm not sure if it was his mistake, a rookie mistake, or if it was Eberflus, or maybe just it was the two of them not understanding. Yeah, absolutely. That's where you'd be looking for Eberflus to take the lead. Tell me, is that worse than the defeat to the Commanders with the Hail Mary throw?
Yeah. Yeah, because you like the Commanders. The worst thing about that was, I can't remember what defender it was hyping up the crowd, telling them all to go home and stuff, and then that happened. You know, and that's a series of unfortunate events through like the ball bobbling up, and it can go anywhere. But you can totally control what happened at the end of that game just now. That was all on your team. You could have done anything you wanted with that, but they chose to blow it. Like, if I'm a Bears fan, I'm getting a new TV. You know,
I could just see it's going to go all like that episode of the Bear, the Thanksgiving one, where the table gets tossed up, people launching forks at one another. I can imagine there's going to be a good job as Black Friday tomorrow. There'll be a few new 72-inch tellies getting bought in the Illinois district. Yeah, I can absolutely see that.
That's just ruined like families' Thanksgivings in Illinois. You know, in Chicago, there's families who are not talking to each other the rest of the day now. The turkey's getting eaten off the floor. It's ridiculous.
But that's the wonderful thing about football. Football for the American football, but they're FIPA. I know it certainly stirs the same emotions in me. I've ruined a Hogmanay, a New Year's dinner once when we decided to eat at halftime and my team was getting beat by a couple of goals. So I know how the Bears fans will be feeling, but thankfully my team turned it around. I don't see it happening with the Bears for the rest of this season. Is there glimpses though that because they were so far down at halftime, it's 16 2-score lead that they had, 16 and to 0. They did come back. They did make it such a tight game. Is there hope for the Bears, or is this going to be another rebuild? Are they going to have to change the head coach, get somebody new in, and then build from scratch again?
I don't think they're going to have to go that far. Like, you've seen in that last few drives there that they had, they can move the ball. They've no problem moving the ball. And the Lions are a very good team this year. Very good. Like, I'll revert back to a few weeks ago when I watched the Texans play, and we were stomping them in the first half.
Yeah.
And then they allowed us to score no points in the second half. So for the Bears to be down the 2 scores and to come back the way they did and have the potential to tie it up at the end, that shows me huge promise in that team. They've not been far off in a lot of their games this year. You know, their record could be a lot more impressive, which means like the NFC North could be even more devastating than it already is with the 3 teams like doing what they're doing. Absolutely. So no, I think there's a lot to be thankful for if you're a Bears fan. Not today's plays, but
not today, no. But there's rays of hope there. We should really focus then on the Lions and another win. The first time in their franchise history they've gone 11-1. Laporta with 2 touchdowns. Some great runs from Jahmyr Gibbs, Montgomery. it seemed like a functional display in the first half. They knew what they were doing. They were getting about their business. They were confident with what they were doing, but something happened in the second half. Was it the injuries that they're facing just now that's holding them back a little bit? Could that maybe be the wee chink in the armour that so many teams are hoping and looking out for? Because at half time, they looked as if they were marching already towards that Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Lions, they seem to get into this cruise control, and they impose their will on teams. We've seen them do it on the road, and that's obviously led to this record. The first time ever in their franchise history, as you mentioned, with that record. But injuries will derail the best seasons. It's all about depth. But if your top guys go down and you don't have that depth of coverage, you can quite easily fall off the rails. Everyone will liken it to their own teams. I'm bad for it. I always do it with the Texans. Like years ago when we were like going for number one in the AFC, Matt Shaw went down with a broken foot. Absolutely derailed the Texans Super Bowl season. I think that was 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
So I've seen it firsthand how you can have the best team in football, but key injuries will absolutely derail you. And there'll be teams watching that today going, maybe the Lions aren't as invincible as a lot of people thought. So it's going to be interesting when they come up against another team of high with a high win record. One of the better teams again. Because the Bears aren't horrible. They just aren't where they need to be just now. But if they come up against, I don't know, if they have to come back over the AFC, I think there's a lot of stronger teams in the AFC. Then we'll see what they're all about again.
Mm-hmm. Well, Lions have got a couple of really, really interesting games coming up. Next one is they've got the Packers Thursday Night Football next week, and then they are playing the Bills.
So there you go. That's
15.
That's two big tests right there. To check the metal. They do have like a full week off, but that is really testing your metal with that two teams. Absolutely. In the next two games.
We are only going to be on for a short time because there is some football still to come this evening. I'm just getting the New York Giants are traveling to the Dallas Cowboys. They own 5 this year for the Dallas Cowboys. You were at the Cowboy Stadium a couple of weeks ago to see your Houston Texans batter them. Basically, it was a fine trip for you. What did you make of the Cowboys? Is this just a season to write off? Are they looking for high picks in this the end of this year? Or is there some signs that they can actually do something towards the end?
The Cowboys just seem a bit of a broken team just now. There's a lot of unrest in the fan base. We noticed that when we were up in Dallas, very hospitable hosts, whether that was due to the fact that they thought they were already going to get beat before they went into the game. A lot of fans were already congratulating us on the win before the ball had even been snapped. But yeah, a lot of guys not happy with Jerry. A lot of fans not happy with Jerry, want Jerry gone. Just not happy with the direction the team's going. Obviously, losing Dak in that, again, derailer. But they haven't won at AT&T in the year of 2024. Wild. It's not just this season. They haven't won a home game this year in that stadium. I think they're one of the only professional sports outfits to not win a home game in the year of 2024. So that's frightening in itself. And that goes back to like the playoffs last year. I generally don't think they've won.
Yeah. No, I remember the Packers absolutely paddled them in the playoffs last year. The wee
That's
Scottish
frightening.
point of note that Graham Gano has just kicked off for the Giants in the game just now, and Cooper Rush is taking over for the Cowboys. I've got to say, I quite like this Cowboys uniform. It's the kind of retro style one with the big white across the back and the big
Okay,
stars and
big panel
the
white.
helmets and the yeah. It's quite a classy looking uniform, but we'll see if it's going to be lucky for them tonight. They are, of course, without Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush functional, but he's not going to move the needle too much for them. Players like Jake Ferguson and that being out is certainly going to be an issue for them as well. So whether CD Lamb, who I believe is leading the league in receptions this year, is able to do enough to get into the end zone, that's going to be a lot to be seen. What about the Giants? They released Daniel Jones earlier in the week. They are going with Drew Lock to start with. Do you see an upturn in fortunes for the Giants?
No, I just don't. I don't think it matters what they do there just now.
Have we ever had a draw on Thanksgiving games?
Well, might be. I don't know what the figures would be on a bet on that one, but you never know. They might recruit them, but like their division itself is a hit or a miss. You know, there was that year that they had nobody with a winning record got into playoffs.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't look too much into their division. I just don't think it's like a very good division. I think it'll improve with the likes of how the Commanders are playing and stuff. But yeah, like you would like. I know it's tradition to have the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, but wouldn't it be better if you had teams that were actually exciting to watch just now? Like, how many people are really going to be tuning in for this matchup? You know, it's
Yeah. It's not. I think they're tuned in more for the halftime show, who I don't even know who it is this year.
Blaney
But
Wilson.
oh, right.
Blaney
Don't
Wilson's
know.
a halftime show. It's a country theme today. Shabuzi played halftime at the first game, and it's Laney Wilson for the second.
I thought Shabuzi was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. That was.
Side note: he'll be playing at C2C next year. So will Laney Wilson. They're both going to be performing at C2C next year. If there's any country fans listening in.
There we go. Mum used to listen to country music television all the time, so I've got a wee bit of that instilled in me. But yeah, it was a good halftime show. Looking forward to this one just now. The game has just kicked off. Who are we going for in this one then, Graham?
I actually want to see the Giants do something. You know, I want to see it be worth their while cutting their QB that they paid like what is it, 140 million for, just to let him go, to go and sign for another team to make more money.
Feeling upwards, isn't it?
It should be him doing this celebration.
Yeah, so you're going for the Giants for this one. I'm going to go for the. I think tonight really is. This is a Cowboys night. If they're going to do it, it's going to be tonight. And yeah, I'll go for the Cowboys in this one then. Rico Dowdle and CD Lamb to do the damage. There we go.
Okay.
Brilliant. We will be back at some point over the weekend. We'll have a proper preview of the rest of the games. We've got Miami Dolphins traveling to Buffalo Bills this evening. That's Green Bay. Miami Dolphins traveling to Lambeau to take on Green Bay Packers. Early hours of Friday morning for us here in Scotland, in the UK. And then tomorrow night, 8 o'clock kickoff, the Las Vegas Raiders are traveling to Kansas City Chiefs, Arrowhead for that one. That'll be a good one. 8 o'clock kickoff. Brilliant having football at a decent time for us.
Isn't it? Brilliant.
Yeah. Makes a big difference. That's my favourite week. Then followed by when the clocks go back and it's the games all start at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And Sunday night, I quite enjoy that. But yes, lots of great football to look forward to over the weekend. Make sure you catch it. I myself, I'm going to be going to the Jets watch party in Glasgow on Sunday night. Jets versus Seahawks. So I'll be representing my Seahawks there. Really looking forward to that with my good friend Patrick, whose birthday is today. So happy birthday, Pat. I'll be his faces stripping him at the end of the night on Sunday then. Good. Graham, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you again,
okay.
bud.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope you're not too jet lagged. Get to see a wee bit more of the football before you conk out.
Yeah, I'll be okay. I'll soldier on.
Thanks very much for watching. Make sure you're subscribing and downloading the podcast. You can get us here. We're across all social media. We'll take a wee bit of quiet turn just now, but we will be back. We'll be back bigger, better and stronger as well. So look forward to that and more live shows coming up as well. Right, thanks very much for listening. Enjoy your Thanksgiving evening. My way to get tore into some Skittles. Thanks very much. Enjoy the game. Bye.
Yeah.